Let us now allow ourselves to more deeply and truly arrive. Gathered we are this day in this way, together to celebrate and to give thanks. Joining from locations near and far, we gather to recognize with deep and abiding joy the accomplishments of the graduates of 2021. Graduating students, parents, friends, alumni, trustees, esteemed guests, faculty, staff, continuing students, however you are, wherever you are, welcome. Let us truly pause to take in the momentous nature of this special occasion. This gets to be a time of deep pause and celebration. I invite you to bring into your heart and mind that for which you are most deeply grateful today, and allow that acknowledgement of gratitude to just be with you and be among us. This year has been one filled with tumult and change, disruptions, and tremendous shifts. Let us take a moment of quiet to become ever more present, to become ever more aware for that which matters most in our lives. Let's take that moment now, just in quiet together. This day, let us give great thanks. Great thanks for all of the connections that renew us and inspire us, and for all of the learning and transformation that has occurred in this vibrant learning community. Life is precious in this fierce and fragile world, and it is vital that we take time to acknowledge and truly celebrate passages in life. So here we come in to a recognition of our own aliveness. Let's remember the gift that it is, and let us come into ever deepening appreciation for those who have shaped the journey of our graduates. This day, let us remember the loved ones who are present and those who are remembered, those who have come before, the power of the communities that have sustained and uplifted your own. Today is truly a special day, where we will soon honor and acknowledge the accomplishment of the graduates. Today is a day of joy and perhaps for some, many, sweet relief. We honor this process of formation and transformation that has been occurring in different ways, unique ways for each graduate today. These students have seen so many changes and navigated much. You have so much to be proud of. You've been putting in the hard work and pouring in great passion, and soon you will launch boldly into your future. Graduates, for your creativity, we give tremendous thanks. We take care this day to bear witness to the fullness of who you are and what you bring into the world, and to honor you. For some, the path to this moment has been long and marked by ups and downs, smooth patches and deeply rocky ones. For some, there has been bright joy and new discoveries, and for others, there has been challenge all the way through. Today, we give thanks for your journeys individually and collectively, and the relationships that you formed along the way. We acknowledge that perhaps your journey has deepened your sense of selfhood, and for that, we are so glad. And some have had a keen sense of what you wish to accomplish when you go forth into your next bright chapters after you leave Mills. We honor the fullness of your life and the opportunities to learn and grow through it all. We recognize that Mills will always be a part of you, part of all of us. It's a part now of who you are, and you will bring the Mills spirit into the world. For all who have helped the graduates today, we offer appreciation for you. For the faculty, staff, president, and trustees for creating opportunities for our students to explore and achieve, we offer appreciation. For the communities of family members and friends who have been part of the support system of the graduates, we offer deep appreciation. Let us be glad, dear community, for those that will be graduating this day and for the degrees they will earn. These scholars will now be charged and equipped to go forth into the world to live ever more deeply their dreams. So let us all be fiercely glad this day and rejoice. Now may this joyful celebration and ceremony commence. Let us come into a time of acknowledgement. We acknowledge the land and labor of the Ohlone people, whose connection to the land on which Mills resides we remember, and whose presence past, present, and future we respect. As part of Mills' mission of supporting and fostering learning through the generation and dissemination of knowledge, we acknowledge that the land on which Mills resides today is the original homeland of the Ohlone people.
Good morning. My name is Katie Sanborn, and I'm the chair of the Board of Trustees of Mills College. I am also a proud alumna of the class of 1983. On behalf of the Mills College Board of Trustees, I welcome you to this 133rd commencement. President Hillman and our other distinguished speakers, faculty, staff, students, alumni and alumni, family and friends, and you, our graduating students. Graduation is finally here. Today, I'm sure you're feeling a surge of excitement and gratitude. Gratitude to your families for encouraging you and supporting you. Gratitude to your professors for challenging you and nurturing you. Gratitude to your friends for being with you during this epic journey, especially the challenges of the past year and a half. Gratitude for just getting to this day. Well, gratitude goes both ways. On behalf of the board, I want to express my gratitude to you. I want to thank you for persevering during the pandemic, for the extra effort it took to maintain your relationships and to sustain your studies. Thank you for your commitment to social justice and for pursuing that while a student at Mills. Thank you for being at and a part of Mills, whether from your home or a residence hall, in person or virtually. I wish I could be with you this day in person to see you laugh with your friends and share hugs with your family. But I've come to appreciate what being together this way, virtually, can still accomplish. So with the Board of Trustees, we are all cheering you on and celebrating you and your accomplishments. Congratulations, class of 2021.
Welcome to the 133rd commencement of Mills College. Many thanks to Reverend Olant and Chair Sanborn and you for helping us get this glorious day started. I'd like to continue by recognizing some of the essential people with us today. First, I'm humbled to welcome our distinguished guest, commencement speaker, and recipient of an honorary Doctorate of Humane Letters from Mills College today, Alicia Garza. Special thanks go to our dedicated faculty who have taught, mentored, and inspired our students throughout their academic journeys. I'd also like to remember the beloved Mills faculty who passed away this academic year. Catherine Kate McGinnity, Adjunct Professor of Dance. Kate taught ballet, dance cultures, and dance pedagogy for 10 years. Anne Metcalf, Professor Emerita of Anthropology. Anne joined Mills College in 1984, held the Edward Hofield Endowed Chair in American Studies, and served as Director of Community Service and Service Learning. She is renowned in the Bay Area Native American community for establishing the Mills College Powwow in 1988. I would also like to acknowledge the extraordinary faculty members who are retiring. Their shift into a new phase of academic and professional life reveals generational changes upon Mills and the rest of higher education. I'm deeply grateful for their staying power, brilliance, and dedication. Generations of Mills students have been inspired by their presence. Our retiring and recently retired faculty include Diane Cady, Professor of English, Literatures and Languages Department Chair, Professor, and Frederick A. Rice Professor. Almudena Conrad, Professor of Computer Science, and Letts Villard Professorship in Natural Sciences. Anne Murphy, Associate Professor of Dance and the Dance and Theater Studies Department Chair, and Mary S. Metz Chair for Excellence in Teaching. Elizabeth Wade, Professor of Chemistry and Associate Provost, formerly, for Curricular Development. And Kathleen Walkup, Professor of Book Art and Lovelace Family Endowed Chair in Book Art. I'd also like to note the retirement and transition of an especially transformative person on Mills' leadership team, Mills College Provost and Dean of the Faculty, Dr. Julia Chinyere Opara. She has been a leader at Mills for more than 2 decades, changing lives and the college throughout. In recognition of her service to Mills, I've asked her to deliver the charge to the class of 2021 graduates that is traditionally made by the president of the college. Thanks to and welcome to our staff. They help students navigate the college on a daily basis, and their support of students and love for Mills makes our aspirations possible. Special thanks to the dozens of staff who planned the logistics for this special occasion, assuring that every detail was taken care of. And during this second spring of the COVID-19 pandemic, there are more details than ever, more problems to solve, more issues to engage, and more resilience on the part of our staff. Now, for our VIPs today, the class of 2021, whose commencement we are here to celebrate. You have navigated terrain as challenging as any degree recipient at virtually any point in time, managing to continue to progress towards your educational goals during circumstances of crisis and uncertainty in a pandemic that both exacerbated inequity and caused an acceleration of change and reckoning. Today is a new beginning, as well as the culmination of hard work that's behind you. I'm grateful for the opportunity to honor each and every one of you, and I deeply respect your ability to persevere, overcome, and show up for yourselves, and for those who now accompany you. Many of you and many of your family members and friends have made sacrifices to bring you to this moment, and many of you share the joy and relief of this day with loved ones. Celebrating you today are family, friends, trustees of the college, graduates of Mills College, alumni leaders, esteemed guests, Mills faculty, staff, college officers, and other students. Each of us share a connection to your accomplishments and pride in your work. To the mighty class of 2021, I send each of you congratulations on behalf of Mills College and the world that will be enriched by your presence and learning. Jessica Greeley, our undergraduate speaker, is from Sacramento, California, and is graduating with a bachelor's in politics, economics, policy, and law. While on campus, she served as the head delegate of the Model United Nations team, as an executive officer for the Associated Students of Mills College, and as the membership development director of the Mills College UC Berkeley Phi Alpha Delta Legal Fraternity. During her time at Mills, she was awarded a Fulbright Fellowship to the University of Victoria, earned her certificate in human rights law from the University of Pennsylvania Carey Law School, and interned for the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi. After graduation, Jessica will begin her Master's of Global Affairs at Tsinghua University as a Schwarzman Scholar, and in the future hopes to complete a PhD in American history. She's passionate about global education access and equity, and is one of the extraordinary students I've had the privilege of teaching at Mills College. Jessica Greeley.
Greetings, everyone. I'm incredibly honored to represent the class of 2021 as we come together to celebrate this momentous occasion. I want to start by saying that I am an imperfect speaker. If I've learned anything during my time at Mills, it is how diverse our community is, both in background and in thought. So while I cannot concentrate all of our experiences into one, I hope that if I share pieces of my story, it will resonate with your own. When I sat down to write this speech, I spent a lot of time reflecting on how much the world has changed since we first arrived at Mills a few short years ago. For me, I arrived looking to study policy after having worked on a congressional campaign during the 2016 election cycle. As I have no doubts all of us remember, on the national level, this campaign cycle highlighted and capitalized on misogyny, sexism, racism, xenophobia, and homophobia. As a biracial woman, both a daughter of the American Revolution and the descendant of those they enslaved, I'd often witnessed and experienced many of these harsh realities in private, but I had never seen such archaic a disregard of commonality promoted and empowered so broadly. So frustrated by the developments of the previous few months and eager to begin this new chapter in my life, I started at Mills as a first-generation SAW student. I figured that the best place for me to learn how to use my voice was to go to a college where it would always be at the center. A place that, while flawed, recognized its missteps and strengths and always worked to be better than it was the day before. It was clear soon after arriving at Mills that the same premium that was placed on academics was also placed on activism. As emphasized by your graduation today, we each excelled in the classroom, conducting revolutionary research, authoring and publishing papers, creating original art now displayed at the Mills College Museum, and even serving as teachers at the Mills School of Education. While in the classroom, readings by scholar activists like Baldwin, Coates, Davis, and Stevenson taught ideology. Outside of the classroom, these lessons continued as students, staff, and faculty put them to practice. So as we applaud all of our scholarly efforts today, I find it equally important to acknowledge and applaud all of the hard work we put in outside of the classroom. Just a few years ago, Mills students, many of my friends, organized and protested federal advances which threatened the fate of our DACA community. Your vision for progress, inclusivity, and action also resulted in the Middle Eastern Student Inclusivity Measure being implemented on campus, meaning that members of the Middle Eastern North African communities can now identify as such on internal forms, a policy more advanced than the federal government's. When parenting students reached out for support, the Associated Students of Mills College established a special emergency fund with the goal of making sure that no parent at Mills has to decide between feeding their child or buying books for the next semester. And this last year, as the pandemic required we shift to remote learning, you not only continued your efforts, but amplified them. Over this last year, when my own community, the Black community, along with the Asian and Asian American communities, again faced unwarranted and unjust discrimination, I was comforted when student leaders throughout campus stood against hate. While I know these are only a few of your many actions and efforts over the last few years, I believe the message is clear. We're better together. The truth is, the most valuable lessons I will carry with me going forward came directly from each of you, my fellow graduates. You taught me that making change isn't about being polished or quick, but being bold and persistent, that compassion is the bedrock of justice, and that authenticity is the presence of both beauty and courage. The Mills motto is one destination, many paths. As we go forth into the world onto our next destinations, I implore us all to take with us the values of equality, justice, compassion, and courage. Because while Mills brought us together, it is its eternal mission which binds us going forward. It is because of your courage and authenticity that I am leaving Mills more confident and excited than when I first arrived. It is because of the faculty and staff who not only aided our academic development, but led by example, the support of our loved ones, and our individual grit and resilience that we are here today. So, on this most auspicious occasion, as we convene in this highly unconventional manner, I send not only congratulations, but a sincere thank you. To the class of 2021, congratulations.
Alicia Garza is an author, political strategist, writer, and organizer. She founded the Black Futures Lab to make Black communities powerful in politics. In 2018, the Black Futures Lab conducted the Black Census Project, the largest survey of Black communities in over 150 years. Alicia is the co-creator of #BlackLivesMatter and the Black Lives Matter Global Network, an international organizing project to end state violence and oppression against Black people. She serves as the Strategy and Partnerships Director for the National Domestic Workers Alliance, the nation's premier voice for millions of domestic workers in the United States. Additionally, Alicia is the co-founder of Supermajority, a new home for women's activism. Today, Mills awards an honorary degree to Alicia Garza, our commencement speaker. I'll now read the text of that honorary degree. The trustees of Mills College, by the authority vested in them and on the recommendation of the faculty, have conferred upon Alicia Garza, a distinguished civil rights activist and writer, whose clarity of vision inspired the Black Lives Matter movement, whose qualities of leadership profoundly reshaped how we understand health and equity, student services and rights, domestic workers' contributions and rights, police brutality, anti-racism, and violence against transgender and gender nonconforming people of color, who has been recognized locally, nationally, and internationally, the degree of Doctor of Humane Letters, honoris causa, with all the rights, privileges, and honors thereunto appertaining, given at Mills College in the state of California on the 15th day of May in the year 2021.
Thank you so much to Mills College for inviting me to be this year's commencement speaker. And to the graduating class of 2021, I'm so very proud of you, because what a long, strange trip these last 4 years have been. And still, you have persevered. Like you, I once stood at this crossroads, filled with a range of emotions: fear, gratitude, anxiety, grief, uncertainty. You remember when you first stepped foot on campus, having no idea what the next few years would bring. And then suddenly, in the blink of an eye, it's over. You've taken your last final. You hope your grades were good enough to carry you through for real, and you celebrate the milestone that tells you that you're ready for the next phase. When I did this in your shoes, it was in 2002. Yes, my God, 19 years ago. And my mom and my dad and my brother and my boyfriend at the time, we'll come back to that later, came to see me walk the stage and collect my degree. I even took my brother on stage with me because the wisdom was that seeing his big sister graduate college would motivate him to want to do the same. My dad didn't go to college. My mom received her associate's degree after she got out of the Army. So already I was going farther than anyone in my family had gone. I remember the last few months of school scrambling to figure out what I was going to do with myself. I applied to a bunch of programs, got a job in the meantime, and was ready to enter what I thought was my adult life. Graduates, I'm sorry if this sounds cliche, but shit happens, and it's never what you think is going to happen. We learned this collectively as a country, just in this past year when our entire lives were turned upside down. You've learned it as students even more recently with the announcement that this college will cease to confer degrees beginning in 2023. We began last year, last month, even yesterday, thinking we knew what would happen tomorrow. And we did not know. And the reason is, change is always happening. Change is the only constant. I thought when I graduated from college that perhaps I would become a teacher. I thought that I would marry that boyfriend of mine, that my brother would want to graduate from college because he watched me walk the stage. I thought I would have my parents forever. But here's what actually happened. I did not marry that boyfriend of mine. Thank God. In fact, I came out as queer and eventually married my partner of now 16 years. I became an organizer after being ignited the summer after I graduated from college. My brother didn't graduate from college. He doesn't even want to finish college, at least not where he's at now. And I lost my dear mother 3 years ago last month. My friends, shit happens. And know that despite the best made plans, change is the only constant. So learn how to embrace it and be resilient in the face of it. After this last year, it would be so easy to be cynical about the future. Sometimes we think that because change is the only constant, that we are chained to a life of instability and therefore uncertainty. But if there's any advice I can offer for those of you who do not like the change that you see happening around you, find the people who care about the same things that you do and join them. In college, I was blessed enough to have my consciousness expanded beyond that which I brought from home. I learned about the ways in which race and class and gender and ability and sexuality and migration status engage and interact to produce some of the worst possible outcomes for people who are designated as other. But also, inside of that, I found the most profound and beautiful resilience and resistance of those who have been designated as other in some way. In other words, those of us who are the survivors of the changes that in many ways have limited our life chances, we have found each other and pledged not just to resist, but to be resilient in the face of extreme uncertainty and change. Now, if you're from the Bay like me, it's kind of like how we learn to stand on Muni or on BART and still text and eat food and drink and not be like the tourists who fall at every little bump. We make it to our destination unscathed, drinks in hand, hair still laid, and we go on about our day. And in those bumps, dips, and turns, we learn who else is in our crew. I can look around a BART train and know who's visiting and who's here to stay. Over the last few years here, you've learned a lot about who is visiting and who is here to stay. Some of the people you've met here will be your people for a lifetime. Like my college roommate, who honestly wasn't even my real college roommate because I didn't get housing on campus my freshman year. But she took me in and let me sleep on a chair that folded into a bed for a full year, just so I wouldn't have to keep making the commute from where my housing was to campus. She's still a close friend of mine today. We share a passion for making the change we want to see in the world, and we pursue it together. Not in the same city, not in the same sector, but in the same movement. You've met the people with whom you share passions and values. Hold them close and grow your crew as you move into this next chapter of your life. We are going to need each other. You better believe that. I mean, could it be any more ironic that she works for the Department of Justice and I fight for justice for Black communities? Keep your people close and learn how to grow your crew. Find the people who care about the same things that you do and join them. And then keep bringing in more people to help. Graduates, some of you are working to change the world because you know how critical it is that we do so before we careen off the cliff, Thelma and Louise style. Some of you don't care about justice, and that's okay too. I believe there will come a time when you have no choice but to care. Some of you are here to deepen your practice of bringing about the change we want to see in the world, and some of you just discovered it for the first time. Let me say something to you that my friend Caitlin Breedlove said to me recently, as someone who was just recently diagnosed with cancer and is beginning to prepare for chemo to save her own life. She said, "What a privilege it must be to be able to cut rather than to sew." College opened my eyes to so much. I became self-righteous in my new awareness, having begun to see the world in ways I never had language for. This may sound contradictory, but hear me out here. I thought that finding my crew was about finding people who think like me, who have the same analysis as me, who were angry about the same things I was, experienced them the same ways, and wanted to address them in the same way. Anytime a hint of something smelled off, like we both like movies, but Purple Rain is my favorite movie of all time, and for you it's House Party, and so now I'm judging you, so I forget that we both like movies because I'm stuck on how you're dissing Prince. So what I would do is I would cut him away. I certainly did find my crew, but it kept shrinking rather than growing. Over the years, I've learned that you cannot move mountains with a smaller and smaller group of people who all think the same way about how to approach the problem of how to move the mountain in the first place. As my friend Ai-jen Poo says, we cannot afford to be the god of small things. Changing the world is about addition and multiplication, not subtraction and division. Finally, my last piece of advice for this graduating class is this: believe in yourself. If this last 4 years has taught me anything at all, it's that you don't have to have it all figured out in order to have an impact and make an impact. And if you don't believe me, consider this. A man with absolutely no experience in government, failed businesses, and a very small view of the world became the leader of the free world and changed it irrevocably. If there's anything at all you can learn from this, it's that all things are possible if you believe in yourself the same way that mediocre white men do. Congratulations to the class of 2021. May this year and the years beyond, with your faith, purpose, work, and contributions, finally bring us some justice and restoration.
Good morning and welcome to Commencement 2021. Seniors and graduate students, families, and friends, it is an honor to recognize our student recipients of Mills College-wide Awards. Before I announce the student recipients, though, there is another important award, the 2021 Outstanding Teacher of the Year. It is my pleasure to introduce the ASMC President, Dylan Turner-Keener, who will bestow this honor on this year's recipient. President Turner-Keener.
Hello, Mills community. My name is Dylan Turner-Keener, and I'm the president of ASMC. We gather here today for the 133rd Mills College Commencement Ceremony. As your ASMC president, it is my honor to announce the 2021 Outstanding Teacher of the Year Award. I am excited to announce that Dr. Sandra Ono has been selected as the 2021 Outstanding Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Dr. Ono. Dr. Ono, you are being recognized as a Teacher of the Year due to the tremendous support received from your students and the Mills community. Although I have not had the pleasure of taking one of your classes, it is clear that based on the student nominations, you not only show up in many capacities to support your students, but also shine a light on the legacies you view in your class. It was also highlighted in the nominations that you shape your class culture to be a supportive environment for your students to learn in, and that you also encourage your students in all of their successes. I got a good understanding of the type of teacher you are from reading the many student testimonies. One of them began by saying, I struggled with an assignment as I brought my own biases to the response and was feeling unsure of the validity of both the assignment and my response. Sandra met with me one-on-one to discuss my particular understanding of the work and allowed for a customization of the criteria that would work for my needs, while at the same time emphasizing the greater understanding of the objectives of the learning potential of the assignment and the class response in the greater community. She proceeded to integrate my needs with flexibility of the curriculum and bring back into the classroom environment, working with each student in this way, even in the midst of an online learning context. Your students stressed the receptive spaces you form for thought-provoking content to have them think more critically about their artwork in the intersections of the world. One of the ways you made your classes adaptable to 2020 and now 2021 events is by acknowledging the difficult issues that may be impacting your students. Another student account writes, In light of difficulties of COVID, I want to highlight Sandra Ono's paintings class last semester. Teaching any course via Zoom is a Herculean effort, especially in the visual arts. Sandra managed to make painting via Zoom exciting and accessible for the entire class. She took the time to create painting care packages so that everyone had access to canvas and tools. She brought in visiting artists from varying backgrounds to speak their own process and how they found inspiration through a pandemic. Even though there were other well-rounded nominees, your commitment and action to highlight Black and other marginalized identities is at the forefront of your teaching style and is reflected in your course material, discussion, and classroom culture. Another student nominator wrote that due to Dr. Ono's teaching, quote, her commitment to highlight BIPOC and queer artists, I now know and am inspired by contemporary artists of color. Because of her class, I realized I could be an artist. Dr. Ono, you put this at the forefront of your teaching style and are so deserving of this recognition, but also serve as a model for other professors on how they could better enrich their curriculum around BIPOC identities and by acknowledging current issues inside the classroom. The ASMC would like to thank all the students who voted and all the faculty who would contribute to this academic year to make it a success. Lastly, thank you, Dr. Ono, for your contribution to the Mills community and the students you have helped shape. Congratulations.
Thank you, President Turner Keener. I also want to thank the ASMC Executive Board for their work in making this award possible this year. And finally, thank you to all of you who had submitted nominations for your professors. I'm excited to recognize 20 students for their outstanding academic and leadership achievements. You have demonstrated incredible resilience, strength, and commitment to excellence during this year of uncertainty, loss, resistance, and political upheaval. Your faculty salute your extraordinary grit and powerful accomplishments. Our newest Phi Beta Kappa Honor Society inductees are Ming Hai Horn, Christine Aya, Abigail Jeffers, Xiao Hui Lei, Aidan Leslie, Tanya Lima, Robin Mitchell, and Brooke Wilson. Welcome to the Mills College SETA chapter, and a special thank you to your faculty nominators. And now we will celebrate a group of extraordinary seniors. Ivory McCracken Sanders has been selected by the Mills College Academic Standing Committee as this year's recipient of the Aurelia Henry Reinhardt Faculty Purse for Graduate Study. The Reinhardt Faculty Purse, named after the college's longest-serving president, Dr. Aurelia Henry Reinhardt, was established in 1949 to honor a graduating senior who exhibited overall academic excellence, maintained a cumulative GPA of 3.9 or higher, and received at least one faculty nomination. Ivory received not one, but 3 nominations and will be awarded financial support for graduate study. Brooke Wilson has been selected by the Academic Standing Committee to receive this year's Elizabeth Mudd Senior Prize. The Mudd Prize was established in 1927 to honor a graduating senior for excellence in scholarship. Brooke maintained a cumulative GPA of 3.9 or higher, met stringent criteria as determined by the Mills faculty, and received a faculty nomination. Lena Coletto has been selected by the faculty of the Art and Visual Culture Department to receive the Dana Wellhausen Family Award, which is given to a graduating senior for their outstanding Bachelor of Fine Arts thesis exhibition. Also recognized this year are the 2021 Student Leadership Award recipients. They are Betty Avila, Athlete of the Year, Kayla Fire Hurd for the Helen Carroll LGBTQ Award, and Dylan Turner Keener for the Senior Award in honor of Christine Lafia. Joining Dylan as the Alumni of Color Committee's phenomenal seniors of color are Sihan McYates and Abby Major. Congratulations to all of these phenomenal seniors. Finally, I would like to recognize the 2 recipients for the MFA in Studio Art Awards. Each spring, the MFA thesis exhibitions are reviewed by a jury composed of local experts in the art world. I would like to thank Giovanna Venegas, the Assistant Curator of Contemporary Art at San Francisco MoMA, and Rory Padakan, Curator at the San Jose Museum of Art, for being our jurists this year. The work of Marlis Mandeville has been selected for the prestigious Hung Lu Award. Professor Emerita Hung Lu taught painting at Mills College from 1990 until her retirement in 2014. Lu is nationally lauded for her dignified and humanizing photorealist paintings, which depict the political and emotional nuances of Chinese and American historical subjects. She is a two-time recipient of the National Endowment for the Arts Fellowship in Painting, and her work has been extensively collected and exhibited by many major museums in the United States. Congratulations, Marlis. The work of Laura De Angelis has been selected for the prestigious J. DeFeo Prize. J. DeFeo was a pivotal figure in San Francisco's Beat movement, and her meticulous and expressive paintings, collages, drawings, and photographs ensured her legacy as one of Northern California's most revered conceptual artists. She taught painting at Mills from 1981 until her passing in November 1989. And DeFeo's will established both the J. DeFeo Foundation and the J. DeFeo MFA Prize at Mills College, dedicated to her memory. Congratulations, Laura. I also want to thank Professor Catherine Wagner, Chair of the Department of Art and Visual Culture, and her studio art colleagues for creating a powerful space for student creativity, learning, and empowerment. To all our Mills seniors and graduate students, I'm grateful to your professors and advisors who have encouraged you, motivated you, and challenged you along the way. Congratulations to the unstoppable class of 2021.
And now, the moment you've been waiting for, the conferring of degrees. Dr. Chinyere Opara, Provost and Dean of the Faculty, will announce the candidates for the class of 2021.
Thank you, President Hillman. Hello, graduates. Now we will proceed to honor you, the Mills College class of 2021, through the conferring of degrees. This year, we will celebrate the Doctor of Education, Master, and Bachelor degree candidates in the upcoming roll call. Faculty, family, and friends, when you see the name of your student during the roll call, please send your congratulations to them on their graduation wall. Without further ado, the graduates of the class of 2021. Marina Rose Doxey. Derek Jack Fenner. Mary Mulhart Gaston.
Sterling Ha.
Adrian Maria Hurd.
Mersha Heredia.
Alexandra Lee Littlefox. Cynthia Denise Richardson. Dominica Spears. Heather Viskia King. AJ Advani. Beatrice Adriana Alvarez. Cara Elizabeth Anderson. Amina Asbury. Christina Ann Ayala. Carlita Dawn Ballard. Melinda Ann Bellone. Alexander Brumwell. Angela Johanna Cabrera. Michelle Campbell Mateo. Chelsea Brooke Carl. Josephine Chapman. Greg Childs. Elizabeth Clays. Rachel Elise Cristofani. Ashley Cunningham. Robert Michael Davis. Ian Lawrence DeHere. Tamara Siobhan Durley, Santiago Feng, Riley Alexandra Fields, Emma Rose Fronberg, Holly Gladwell, Maria Elena Gomez Caravantes, Rachel Marie Good Loomis, Jace Gorey, William Miles Green, Katie Laurie Halleman, Kristen Elizabeth Hernandez, Dana Hubert, Natalie Mavis Jage, Michelle Bernadette Johnston, Kyra Aki Kamiya, Barbara Coe, Callie Lapidus, Jessica Lee, Jackson Lee, Paul McKinney, Caitlin Marianacci, Javier Martinez, Raquel Adriana Martinez, Catherine Marks, Michelle Irene Mason, Ruby Melchor, Christina Mendoza, Karen Mondaka, Caitlin Hope Morton, Virginia Neufeld, Emily Niniger, Shayna Patel, Catherine Lisette Perez, Jessie Fan, Natalie Petrie, Corey Potts, Jamelia Danielle Pugh, Peggy Ann Ramirez Munoz, Christiana Reining, May Lay Saturn, Crystal Salas, Elizabeth Scafani, Mariah Helena Segura, Katina Smith, Melanie Sheila Standig, Elizabeth Starkey, Sophie Stauffer, Teresa Veronica Thompson, Corey Sebasish Tripathi, Neil Virtue, Hannah Vollschmidt, Eric Walker, Suzanne Walsh, Gabrielle Wilson, Darnisha Wright, Miranda Kate Wyatt, Ariona Margaret Yauga, Michael Anthony Yee, Wilmot Ye,
Aparna Yelapragada,
Layla Zaremba, Kyle Bates, Joni Bissell, Ariel Regina Cole, Christian Nicholas Dalbaum, Laura Lonnie DeAngelis, Jasmine Rachel Freeman, Ashley Gar, Svetlana Gaishan, Chad Glenn, Hayes Handler, Joseph Michael Hernandez, Erica Monique Hyler, Sylvia Hughes Gonzalez, Kalana Johnson, Mikal Jones, Rebecca Christine Josephson, Cynthia Marisol Lozano, Marlis Mandeville, Danielle Mason,
Rowan Avery Matthews,
Joanna Mattis, Tiago Rodriguez Pereira Mendez, Cara Lynn Nelson, Janae Newsom,
Jose Antonio Nuno,
Eileen Marie O'Connor,
Grayson Ray Ovick,
David Padula, Tyler Peters, Trevor Paulson, Samuel Regan,
Bree K. Riley,
Alexandru Antonio Salciano, Darius Simpson, Bo Thomas, Stephanie Tobon,
Peiyu Yao,
Prasanna Adhikari, Lawrence Liu, Karen Guadalupe Newton, Cheryl Ye Chu, Samantha Epstein, Marianne Go, Maya Johnson Hagler, Taina Jones, Sasha Klimzak, Zoe Lake, Karima Omar, Ornette Pratt, Micah Rosen, Vibhu Anant Verma, Chris Wakefield, Marjan Yavari, Tanya Young, Chloe Simone Alvarado, Jillian Rebecca Bletz, Paige Chamberlain, Olubukola Olukbemi, Micah Key Weisbook, Carrie Elizabeth Barbane, Sandra Bernal, Amy Alexis Denino, Noah Dove, Natalie Andrea Dubon, Riley Hurst, Brandy A. Hyatt, Brianna Lachey Jones, Melissa Lassell, Charlena Lasso, Eileen Saltman, Helena Smith, Amanda Marie Wheelock, Angelica Bridget, Dagny Isadora Hazel Brown, Bruce Chen, Maritza Flores, Danielle Renee Johnson, Danielle Marie Cerna, Dunja Solari, Kristen Dion Thompson,
Kurt Ka'ai Kahiwi,
Jennifer Simmons, Courtney Allison Webster, Sayaka Araki, Kaylee Bankston, Jessica Brown, Leticia Cornejo, Daphne Rose Flores, Quinn Forrester Walmsley, Jeremy Ryder Judge, Brittany McClintock, Austin Courtney Meyer, Mark Joseph Osorio, Fatima Salahuddin, Ivan Angelov, Jules Barclow, Maurice Charles Alexandre Baz, Thalia Marie Cruzat, Lily Laparolari, Esther Fan Melton, Eliza Randall, Alison Marie Rickard, Anna Elizabeth Satterfield,
Mallory Shingle,
Isabella Serda Smith, Rodolfo Samuel Tucker, Sami Tukan, Tristram Kelly Wilson, Selma Victoria Paketsi, Keira Quine, Catalina Otarola Areagada, Caitlin Bonner, Alondra Chavez Cerda, Alejandra Cordova Flores, Micah Hale Larios Gordon, Emily Mejia, Yasmin Mubarez, Electra Pacheco, Jada Baldoza, Mariah Brown, Haley Chamberlain, Jasmine Cuellar, Carolyn Hernandez,
Abby Lily Jeffers,
Christina Grace Lilly, Sayaka Mochizuki, Shania Nikienkova, Isabel Leonor Rodriguez Paminchuan, Maria Elena Ramos, Sarah Olivia Scott, Mackenzie Thompson, Tess Weinberger, Omoremi Adeleke, Zainab Al-Rashid, Jocelyn Alvarado Gonzalez, Marissa Danita Anderson Smith, Annabella Armstrong,
Betty Alejandra Avila,
Olivia Alma Bull, Julia Barker, Kylie Sophia Becker, Taylor Belmonte, Cecilia Bishop, Taya Anyi Blatt, Nadia Bordoud, Kelly Rosamond Bullock,
Taylor Collan,
Barbara Antunes Camilo, Trianne Cow, Maisha Nicole Corsi, Giselle Micheline Cazot, Chloe Champion, Matilda Chidlaw, Livia Coletta, Lena Coletto, Vanessa Marie Connell Turner, Sophie Conroy, Molly Copans, Lizette Cortez, Christian Cortez, Haley Cranny, Caitlin Coleman, Patricia Palau, Imani Ashia Nagin Dawson, Jasper Ducure, Aya Dominique, Leilani Malise Donier, Chantrell Edwards, Susie Jane Amy Edwards, Marsha Ehrlich, Elizabeth Lupita Esqueda,
Angel Fabre,
Emily Falco, Jasmine Angelica Fedeli, Bailey Ferguson, Sarah Ann Fields, Juliana Figueroa Paredes, Simone Ophelia Gage,
Ellie Marcella Gann,
Cecilia Garcia, Leah Carmen Garcia, Yasmin Garcia, Apradeep Kaur Gill, Angel Gloria Gilliard, Lila Dorothy Goering, Jessica Greeley, Ariel Sonia Greenhill, Kelly Handler, Elena Laura Ha, Kanya Hart, Nell Hayes, Kenya Hernandez, Adeline Herrera Orozco,
Paris Higgins,
Ariana Hill, Ming Hai Horn, Avery Catherine Lyer Husted, Ariana Israel, Francely Jocelyn Jimenez Palacios, Lauren Rose Johnson,
TJ Johnston,
Lillian Jones, Natalie Jew, Maria Mason Carcaby, Rachel Isabel Cator, Anne Elise Kiesling, Kayanat Khan, Iris Miriam Kilmister, Janice Olivia King, Emily Kate Kinzel, Alison Nicole Kreuzer, Malika Labossiere, Sarah Leahy Chichani, Wendy Lamb, Viola Joy LeBeau, Falway Ivy Lee, Aiden Safina Leslie, Tanya Lima, Stephanie Lister, Nina Lokshin, Joanna Lopez, Ivory McCracken Saunders, Abigail Yvette Major, Meenakshi Marchioni, Brenda Irene Marquez Ruiz, Lauren Marshall, Mauricia Matias Ramirez, Dara Chanel McKenzie, Sihan McYates, Bianca Mead, Bailey Meadows, Tyler Laren Mendoza, Chantel Mercedes, Charlotte Merrick,
Jules Moray Michicic,
Tara Mickles, Brenda Miles, Monica Miller, Clarity Matrician, Nurhaliza Mohammad, Ella Moniz, Alexis Monroy, Jennifer Mora, Khalid Arely Morales, Nessie Moore, Naila Mariam Mohammed, Christina Murray, Rose Myers, Angelica Victoria Nevado, Catherine Neithercutt, Gloria Khan Nguyen, Rehana Nai,
Jade Obler,
Danica Marielle Battalion Ola, Andrea Maya Osornio, Amanda Padilla, Sienna Parrish, Grace Patterson, Felicia Madrid Payomo, Annabel Peña, Herminia Perez Enriquez, Jonah Noel Peters, Vanessa Pimentel, Karen Hope, Anne Cecile Preciosa, Laurel Corrine Price, Jacqueline Puak Chanak, Denise Puente, Sofia Ramirez, Lorena Ramos Vargas, Alondra Rios, Melissa Rivas, Priya Rizal, Lizette Rodriguez, Michelle Rodriguez, Taylor Rodriguez de Luna, Veronica Roth Madrid, Kelly Catherine Rowe, Dionysia Ruiz, Kelly John Rutherford, Yuri Amala Sadiki Torres, Jay Sinclair Scott, Malika Sebihi, Alexandra Lectra Rose Sinclair, Jamie Sky Stevenson, Emma Sugarbaker, Noreen Michelle Swan, Koshi Tamang, Sahiba Taneha, Desiree Tatazuk, Margaret Rose Teichert, Cora Thornton Silva, Mara Thwaites Albers, Jacqueline Tianero, Camille Torres Kelly, Morgan Turner, Dylan Nia Turner Keener, Marizelle Ungo, Jacqueline Baye, Macy O'Neill Voller, Ashlyn Warney, Emily Lauren Weiss, Shanara Vijay Singh, Grace Julia Wilcox, Madison K. Williams, Una Williams, Mamie Willis, Brooke Wilson, Karen Wilson, Alice Irene Hewitt Wright, Naisha Ayana Young, it is my great honor and privilege to issue this year's charge to graduates. This honor is usually reserved for the President, and I am grateful for the invitation to deliver these words to you as I too graduate Mills and embark on the next chapter of my life's journey. Mills College, this passionate, beloved, imperfect, and sometimes contradictory community, has become a part of who you are. You have spent transformative years of your life here, years fighting for justice inside and outside of the campus walls, years seeking to understand and lift up each other's struggles, years striving to find your authentic voice and raise it to make the world a better place. And those years have been well spent. They have shaped you into the powerful change maker, artist, writer, practitioner, or scientist that you are today. They have laid the foundation for a life of deep authenticity, meaning, and service to humanity and to our planet. This year, 377 undergraduates and graduate students walked the virtual stage as I called your names. As you heard your name, I am sure that you felt a surge of pride as your faculty, peers, and loved ones celebrated you for your accomplishment. The success we celebrate today is not just that you completed all your coursework and earned a Mills degree, although that is a huge accomplishment. We are also celebrating your resiliency, your strength, and your ability to overcome adversity. Let's think back over your time at Mills. Many of you weathered California's wildfires and Red Sky Day and had to improvise ways to complete coursework during rolling power outages. And that was before the pandemic. In the past year, you did lab work wearing PPE, you conducted sheltered-in-place research, and you navigated Zoom classes with and without bad hair days. You were part of a racial reckoning that changed the world, saw too many lives taken at the hands of racist police, witnessed the Capitol stormed by white supremacists, and lived to see a small portion of justice delivered and yearned for more. You kept on attending classes, turning in papers, and taking exams, even as your alma mater reckoned with the financial impact of COVID-19, and even as your hearts broke at mass shootings and Black and Asian lives brutally ended. As I reflected on the class of 2021, I looked for a word to capture the spirit of this class. The word resilient begins to describe you, but it's simply not enough. You have not just survived adversity, you have overcome adversity and continue to reach for excellence. You, the class of 2021, have proven yourselves to be unstoppable. One of our most historic class assumed a name for itself and is known as the Strikers of 1990. It is my hope that you will come to be known as the Unstoppable Class of 2021. In that spirit, I want to bring into this space the lives and wisdom of 3 unstoppable women who have been part of my Mills journey. Each of these women overcame immense adversity, lived or live with great courage and authenticity, and have touched innumerable lives in their struggles for justice. I encountered the first of these women in the late 1990s at a demonstration outside a Central Valley women's prison. Frail and using a walker, Yuri Kochiyama protested, slowly and with great dignity, against inhumane treatment and unnecessary deaths in custody. As we lifted our voices to chant and sing, the women inside later said that they could hear us and that their hearts were lifted to know that they were not alone. Yuri Kochiyama was born in San Pedro in California to Japanese immigrant parents, and she studied English, journalism, and art at junior college. In 1943, under President Roosevelt's Executive Order 9066, Kochiyama and her family were sent to a concentration camp in Jerome, Arkansas for 2 years. Yuri's consciousness was transformed by this experience, and she insisted that all forms of oppression and state violence are interconnected. In the early 1960s, she became active in the Asian American, Black, and Third World movements for civil and human rights, in ethnic studies, and against the war in Vietnam. She was the founder of Asian Americans for Action, and she sought to build an Asian American movement that would link itself to the struggles for Black liberation. In 1963, she met and became friends with Malcolm X. She joined Malcolm X's Organization for Afro-American Unity to work for racial justice. Yuri was present on the day that he was tragically shot and killed, and she appears in the Life magazine photo of his death. She can be seen crouched in the background, cradling Malcolm's head. It is Yuri who taught me the incredible value of sharing our stories, of standing shoulder to shoulder with someone whose struggle is different from mine, knowing that they in turn will stand with me, and that while alone we may feel impotent and overwhelmed, when we stand in solidarity with one another, we are immensely powerful. As Yuri once said, life is not what you alone make it. Life is the input of everyone who touched your life and every experience that entered it. We are all part of one another. Yuri overcame anti-Asian discrimination and efforts to other her and her family. She said a bold no to efforts to make her feel that she did not belong, and instead, she found a home within every movement for justice. She was truly unstoppable. The second woman I'd like to bring into this space is Sandy Whitehawk. I met Sandy Whitehawk in person for the first time in the Student Union at Mills in 2006 when she came to read from her chapter in my edited book, Outsiders Within. Sandy was born on the Rosebud Sioux Reservation in South Dakota. When she was 18 months old, she was adopted by a white missionary family. Sandy was raised to be ashamed of who she was and to believe that she should be grateful for being saved. She tells the story of her mother looking her in the eyes and telling her, "Your mother didn't really want you. She only kept you so she could have a welfare check, so she could drink. If we hadn't gotten you, you wouldn't have had a chance." She later learned that over 1/3 of Native American children were removed from their families prior to the passage of the Indian Child Welfare Act of 1978. When she was 35, Sandy finally found her way home to Rosebud, and she found that her family had been hoping, praying, and waiting for her and her 8 siblings to return. Her mother had been unable to parent them due to the trauma she herself had experienced during her childhood in an Indian boarding school. Sandy dedicated herself to healing herself and other adoptees. She founded the First Nations Orphans Association and worked with a Dakota elder to create a wiping of tears ceremony where the community could grieve collectively, and truth, healing, and reconciliation community forums to name and heal the harm of forced separation. Sandy shares this wisdom with us. She says, "There is an outside and inside to a circle, an outside and inside of the self. As Indian people, we believe that we are all part of the sacred circle of life that knows no beginning and no end. When we are gathered in a circle, we are quieted and know we are in a home away from home. But on the outside, we are disconnected from ourselves, a result of living as if we fit in. The connection from the outside to the inside of the heart is our drum, our songs, our ceremonies, our relatives, ourselves." One broken heart at a time, Sandy is healing the circle that was broken by intergenerational trauma and colonization. Sandy taught me the importance of being true to oneself, of going inside to the dark, wounded place to heal so that we can heal others. That just as hurt people, free people, free people. Sandy overcame the deepest wound of all, a wounded spirit, and now her spirit shines as an example of transformation and reconciliation. She too is truly unstoppable. The third and final woman I bring into this space came to Mills in 2014, the day after she tragically lost her home and belongings in an apartment fire. Despite that trauma, Miss Major owned the stage of Littlefield Concert Hall and kept us all spellbound with her stories of growing up trans in the 1940s and 50s, working as a sex worker, one of the few professions available to trans women of color at that time, being expelled from several colleges in New York for expressing herself, and being arrested and serving time as a result of her role in the infamous Stonewall riots. Miss Major decided that no one should have to go through the abuse she experienced in prison, and she became an activist, founding and working with organizations and grassroots movements to defend and care for the trans community. As an 80-year-old transgender icon, Miss Major remains as raw, raunchy, and hilarious as ever. Talking about her identity as a Black trans woman, Miss Major said, "We've been here ever since God made man and woman, and they have to get over it. I don't need their permission to exist. I exist in spite of them. I want you to train and teach and love on and create families within my community and gender nonconforming people so that we can understand that we have a culture, we have a history, we have a reason to be here, we have a purpose, we're entitled to be loved." Miss Major teaches us to be bold, strong, and unapologetically who we are, and that loving ourselves and each other in the face of hatred and violence is perhaps the most radical act of all. Today is your commencement. This day can be whatever new beginning you choose. As you leave this place, I encourage you to lean on the lessons of these three women who have touched the Mills community and helped to make us who we are today. Build community, tell your own story, and listen deeply to someone whose story is different from yours. You are stronger together. Look inside, tend to your wounds and dark places, knowing that it is those wounds that will allow you to touch others and begin to heal the brokenness caused by generations of oppression and harm. Be fabulously and unapologetically you. Love yourself and your community fiercely. Know that the actions that come from deep love will create lasting, meaningful change. I leave you with more words from Yuri Kochiyama. Transform yourself first, because you are young and have dreams and want to do something meaningful. That in itself makes you our future and our hope. Keep expanding your horizon, decolonize your mind, and cross borders. As you leave Mills, know that you have everything you need to excel, to transform, to create, to love, and to make the world into a place where we can all breathe.
May you, graduates, go forth. May you celebrate. May you rest. May you honor your accomplishments and give thanks for the accomplishments of others. May you notice beauty when and where and how you find it. May you lift it up, call it out, and bring it forth. May you cherish what matters most in your lives. May you use your gifts in service of a better world. And may the road rise to meet you as you help new growth, learning, justice, and positive change to break forth positively everywhere. Let us all now go forth lifted up for the journeys of our living, knowing how deeply valued and needed each are to meet the challenges of today's world. Let us go forth with joy and profound appreciation for the life-giving gift of education and all it brings. It is time to celebrate. Congratulations, graduates of 2021.
Oh, fires of wisdom burning among the sunset hills, we hail thy faithful keeper, our alma mater Mills. Sweet altar fires of knowledge, within thy light we kneel. On thy blue smoke ascending, our yearning spirits steal. On thy blue smoke ascending, our yearning spirits steal. Oh, may our high endeavor like sparks from life flame win, to light on our own altars, fair wisdom's fire within. Our cherished fostering mother, golden gated hills shall guard thy flowers forever. Thy children hail thee, mills, shall guard thy flowers forever. Thy children hail thee, mills. We gather now, mill scholars, to raise our torches high.